If summer is a symbol for those times in life that we're supposed to feel joyful and outside of and beyond the normality of life, whether that's grief or stress or anxiety or breaks in, then it disrupts us, right? We become disquieted is a good term for that. And that disquieting is disquieting.
When life throws a challenge at you, one thing is certain. To find a resolution for every issue, every problem, for everybody, there's more than one way. Hey everybody, we hope you're doing well. It's glad to have you back on another episode of More Than One Way. If you're listening right now, we're in summertime. And,
summertime!
So all the fun things that come with summer. We're excited for that. And we're going to have a conversation today and glad you could be with us.
Yeah, summer. Who loves summer?
I love summer.
Do you love summer?
Summer,
What do you guys love about summer?
Warm.
Warm.
Yeah, I'm kind of a heat person. I like heat more than cold.
Right.
I like that.
Yeah. Well, what about this? I mean, so that's the temperature. But what about the season? What's summer for you? What is it? I mean, either memories or current. What do you associate with summer?
Light. The things, I mean, it's light, it's bright, you have those long days.
Long
it's
hours.
not, you get, I mean, this feels like things are alive because it's bright.
Right.
Yeah.
Everybody's happy.
Lots of gatherings, get-togethers, things outside.
Barbecues, going out.
And you can get outside.
Yeah.
Anyone can get outside.
Yeah. So what do you do in the midst of that kind of cultural, hey, everything's happy and you can do anything at any time because it's light all the time? Oh, it's almost light till 9 o'clock now, right?
Yeah. It's
so
great.
My God, you could stay out till forever in the light. And what do you do when that feeling of, isn't this great and wonderful and I'm so happy, isn't how you're feeling in summer? Know what I mean? When in the midst of summer, when everything speaks to fun and happiness and light and all that stuff, and something happens in your life or you're just going through something in your life where you're just not feeling that way, what do you do? Did you ever hear a story about that? I've heard a story about that. If you want,
let's hear it.
I heard a
story.
story about that the other day. Okay, so a friend of mine was with a friend of hers, and they were walking along and talking, and there was just something going on with our friend's friend. Mm-hmm. Okay, why don't we just call them? What could we call them? Jane and Betty. Okay, so Jane's our friend, and Betty is her friend. So Betty was just in a tizzy, kind of, or what are other words for a tizzy? Upset. How about that? Everybody's she's just really, really upset. Okay, so Betty's upset, and Jane's trying to give her some space and all, but has that sense of something's up, something's going on, but doesn't want to just intrude. So they walk along and just kind of have that feeling, and then all of a sudden Betty says, I just don't want to feel the way that I'm feeling. I feel terrible. Something happened at work today. It seems as though somebody might be asked to leave, and it all feels unfair and terrible, and there's nothing that I can do about it. But I just feel so bad, and I don't want to feel bad. What would you say to that person if they said that? Betty's dilemma.
Well, I mean, you'd have to follow up with the question of, do you need to... What's making you feel bad? Where are you? Where's that stress?
Where's it coming from and all that?
What's the source?
Right. Okay. So why are you feeling the way you're feeling? What's going on with that?
Yeah.
What else? What else could you? Because one of the big things is she was upset, and then she was upset because she was upset.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying is somehow or another, she had it in her mind that it was wrong to be upset.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. So what do you do with that?
That's a hard one.
Yeah.
Um,
You want to know what Jane did?
yeah, let's hear it.
Jane said, well, it's okay that you're upset. It's okay that you feel bad. You don't have to try to get out of it. Why don't you sit with it for a while?
That's a good way to be.
Why would you think that? Why do you think that's a good way to be? How come?
Because I think, well, the danger is that you try to escape those feelings,
Right.
And you want to either tamp them down or push them down so they just get buried and locked in somewhere, or you find external sources to dissipate that feeling. Get some kind of dopamine rush, whether that's whatever that might be for
take your
someone.
mind
Yeah,
off of it.
whatever that might
Do
be.
something to take your mind off it, or have
Just ignore it.
some substance that helps you take your mind off it.
But it's unlikely that those feelings go away. I mean, you either paper over them or you stuff them down.
Right.
Yeah.
And what happens if you paper over them or stuff them down? What goes on then? Because this is why I think it was such a genius thing that she said.
It sounded so simple when you said it, but in actual fact, it's probably...
In my experience, I feel like they get worse. Or then I start feeling bad that I've put it away. It just, that time doesn't, or that avoidance doesn't help.
Right.
It doesn't really, may soothe something in the moment, but it doesn't lessen the intensity of the feelings. If anything, it might increase it more for me personally.
Right. Well, why do you think it is that we kind of tamp them down or try to ignore them or try to do something to take our mind off of it? How come?
Biologically, it just feels uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
I mean, your body gets tense, your heart rate increases,
Right.
you don't sleep, So,
Right.
I mean, there's just a physiological reaction to
Right.
anxiety or stress.
Right. So the tamping down or the forgetting about it or the taking something to take your mind off of it works in the short term.
Yeah.
It's a nice little but you see, for me, the thing that Jane said is what in the end is going to help you to get through it and live with it both at the same time, and learn that sometimes feeling bad is the appropriate response.
Yes.
To what's happening in your life. So things like sadness, frustration, anger, grief, that whole side of life that feels so foreign within the mindset of summer, as that we're talking about summer, can come at any time because it's part of who and what we are as humans.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
What do I mean? Tell me what I mean. In your words. No. Whoever has it first.
When you're in a container or a place where you feel life should be being fulfilled at all times, then when that's interrupted, it feels inappropriate.
Right.
And if summer is a symbol for those times in life, that we're supposed to feel joyful and outside of and beyond, and the normality of life, whether that's grief or stress or anxiety or breaks in, then it disrupts us, right? We become disquieted is a good term for that. And that disquieting is disquieting. Right?
I'm with you on all that. And it's like, but what if that's the way it should be in a sense?
Yeah. Well,
living from that, having that sense of disquiet, and it's there for a reason.
That itself is not the problem.
Yeah, that itself is not the problem. You don't have to try to get out of that. I get it that it's uncomfortable. I get it that it's messes with us a bit. But I think
or a lot.
Or a lot. Yeah, depending on the severity of the situation that you're in, no doubt about it.
And I think, that story, it sounds like they were on a walk, but there are times when that happens when you don't have the space to respond.
Yeah.
Where you feel like, okay, I've got to maintain, like if it happened when you're at work, in the middle of work, and you still have things to do and an environment that you're in that doesn't let you step into it or spend time with it, then, that kind of adds to the anxiety sometimes.
Yeah,
or if you're just in a family or a group of people that it's just it's not the moment.
Yeah, and then somebody might be like, well, what's wrong with you? Well, what's wrong with that guy?
Yeah.
What's the matter with so and so? Or they might try to avoid you because it's like it's going to rub off, and you don't want. Saturday Night Live did a skit about this, right? You remember the skit?
Debbie Downer.
Debbie Downer, right? Yeah, Debbie Downer, right? Because, and I think behind what you were saying, Chris, people are afraid that if they go there, and they let and they acknowledge those harder feelings and find themselves dealing with harder things, in a sense, face to face, head on, they're going to end up like a Debbie Downer. It's like all or nothing. You either are like happy all the time, or you're this one person who points out all the negative that's going on in life.
Yeah.
Right.
See, the thing about Debbie Downer is we all have some of that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. And to me, if we don't win, let's put it on me. When I don't sit with that stuff, when I don't sit with those feelings, when I don't sit with how I'm actually feeling in whatever moment, what happens is I put it out on somebody else.
Right.
Somebody else ends up being the one, like a Debbie Downer, who I notice it in, who carries it, who I want to try to avoid. But once again, the genius of what Jane suggested is, if you sit with it, then you have a better chance, even though it might take some time, and even though you might be in the Debbie Downer mode for a while, of actually coming to terms with it and dealing with it, and to some degree living with, that sometimes I can't resolve something, like in this person's situation.
Mm-hmm. Right.
One of their deep frustrations was there was nothing the person could do.
Yeah.
Right. So, but the feeling's still there.
Yeah, and you're reminding me, Thom, of a story that in some ways the antithesis to Jane's story, and that is I encountered a person who underwent incredible trauma, a traumatic experience. They owned a store. The store was robbed. Just so happens that she was in the store with their young child. They were bound and gagged and thrown in the back room. And while they were bound and gagged, the robbers shot her husband, who was the owner of the store. And she had her own career, and she took a couple weeks off, and the child was young, and she went back to work, and she was a Debbie Downer for the culture.
Yeah.
I mean, she couldn't hold her. I mean, her body was keeping the score of the trauma. She couldn't even hold herself up.
Yeah.
And her boss at her job came in and said, "What's wrong with you? You've had 2 weeks. You should get over this."
Oh my gosh.
And that was, when you hear that story, it's about, well, that guy's a jerk, right? Yeah. Well, in many ways, it's likely because he's never sat with his feelings, and that was awakening something in her trauma. But a lot of our culture is, how do you get over it as quickly as possible? Yeah. You can't sit with that because it's making me uncomfortable. So the Debbie Downer, of course, was humorous, and yet it's almost it's what we don't want in our culture.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why it was so humorous.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we kind of try to push it aside on a larger scale. Like you talked about, on an individual scale, you might have feelings of, let's just call negativity, feelings of upset, anxiety, any of that kind of stuff. And we talked about pushing it down as an individual, and we could do that on a larger scale too.
Yeah.
Right? There's something wrong with you if you're in this position, if you're feeling this particular way. And for me personally, I wouldn't say that there's something wrong. I would just say there's something going on.
Yeah.
Right? And it's something for you to that's almost like a so-called siren song, the sirens from the Greek world. That's just saying, pulling you toward it. Hey, pay attention to me. Take a look at this. Right, and we can take that as far as you want within the spiritual realm, because meaning, into places that that we once again see in a very negative way, but might not necessarily be negatives, like something like depression. Right now, I'm not talking about heavy-duty clinical depression. That's such a mystery, and people need to do whatever. I'm kind of talking about more average melancholy that might lead to a bit of lack of energy, lack of
melancholy's good.
Yeah, ability to go out and function, right? And so, as a culture like ours, we could see that as such a terrible thing, or the person is terrible because they have that thing, or like the old adage, who did something wrong for that person to be like the way that person is,
right? Or what's wrong with you is usually how we phrase it to people.
But in the end, once again, from a spiritual perspective, it would be, no, the depression is just trying to tell you something. It's trying to hold you in place and not have your energy go off in a 5 or 10 or 10,000 different directions, but to stay right here so that you can look at the reason why you're so sad. Okay? So the sadness in and of itself isn't bad. Yeah. And somebody living from a place of sadness for a season. Now, I get it. If it's forever, that's hard. But for a season, might be appropriate. Right? So it's appropriate for a woman who's gone through the trauma that Chris is talking about to feel however it is she wants to feel in a lot of ways, right? In 2 weeks, yes, in my mind, is not going to be like, oh, I'm over it.
2 years,
or
two lifetimes.
One of the things somebody once said is, God, we should really just be kind to one another all the time because we just don't know what the person we're coming up against is dealing with.
Yeah. And everybody's dealing with something.
Everybody's dealing with something. And it's like, for me, once again, to circle back to our initial story, what's so beautiful is when we say, hey, it's all right that you're feeling that way. Yeah. And it's okay for you to go into that. That's okay.
Because I think it's counterintuitive to think going further, deeper or more toward that feeling. Yeah. I think, for some people it would feel like, well, what if I fall off the edge? What if there's no bottom to it? What if I go toward it and I can't come out of it? And so what's the comfort level with being able to sit there?
It is stepping into the abyss in many ways. Yeah, which may be a bit strong, but it's kind of like that because you're stepping into a situation where you don't know what's going to come of you as you deal with what's going on. What we talked about the other day when we were trying to organize our thoughts around this podcast, we talked about Parker Palmer, a guy who's written a book and gone through serious depression, depression that lasted for years. And at its worst, what he had well-meaning friends who would come over and try to get him to look at the bright side. Yeah. Try to look at all the blessings that he had in his life. And kind of took that angle, and it just, from his perspective, it just didn't work. It just made him feel worse. It's like, yes, I have all that, and yet I still feel this way, right? And then other people who kind of took the more, hey, snap out of it, approach, and that didn't work. He said one thing worked. One friend would come over and just sit there, and then after a while, the friend would go, how about if I rub your feet? And give him a foot massage. And the foot massage, what Parker Palmer said was a way for him to feel something other than the hardness of him having to face the darkness that he was having to face. So he felt something for just a minute. And the person made a big deal of taking off his shoes, taking off his socks, getting water, cleaning his feet, rubbing his feet, putting it all back on without saying a word. And I thought, man, that's helping somebody sit in something that is so very difficult. And you see, I think sometimes what for me anyway, what I've experienced is when I'm feeling bad and I feel like I'm not supposed to feel bad, or that people are trying to get me to snap out of it, it just feels, as I said with Parker Palmer, it just feels worse.
Yeah.
But the magic comes with, hey, it's okay. And I'll sit here with you, or I'll walk with you, or I'll call you every day at this time, or you know what I mean?
And in the story you shared, I mean, just giving the permission, just to say, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. If you need to be sad or upset about it, that's fine.
It is.
Just.
Yeah, and I think getting the permission from somebody who you care about, it might sound like not that much, but it's huge in the face of, especially if you're not feeling well in summer. If you're mentally not in a place that feels exactly the way you think you're supposed to feel.
Yeah.
Right? And I get it, if you're like going to go to a summer party, who wants you when you're in that place? I get that. I get that. And so if you can muster up the fakiness, fine. To me, as long as you know you're faking it.
Yeah.
That thing that you haven't really seen yet is still there, and maybe it's going to be there for a while. So I'm all for you people out there who like to fake it till you make it. Cool. We'll go with fake it, but know you're faking it.
Yeah.
Know that the fullness of who we are as human beings contains everything that we see. So it contains joy and it contains grief. It contains love and it contains indifference. And we just can go right on down the line. So it takes it all. And from my perspective, I read this book called The Wild Edge of Sorrow.
Wow.
Yeah, not a beach read, let me tell you. So if you're going to go out on the beach with friends, do not bring this book. But one of the things this guy does is he helps people sit with their grief. So he puts on retreats and different things like that for people to come and experience what it's like to do what it is Jane was saying on a smaller scale to her friend, right? And that is sit in it. And like you were saying, Chris, sit in it with other people around you, just who aren't going to try to fix you, but who will support you in it. And one of the things he says is if we can't go into things like grief and sit with it and see that it's a part of who we are and live within it, then that will lessen how much we can experience joy. So if you can engage the fullness of who we are as humans, it lessens what we like. Right? So like love and loss. Right? The more you really, really love someone, the harder the loss is oftentimes.
Yeah.
Right? And they go hand in hand. Right? And if I'm going to pretend like when somebody I love, I lose, that it didn't matter that much, then I won't be able to experience the love as fully, as completely. As if I can say, yes, this hurts because I lost something and someone I love.
Yeah.
Right? So I guess this for me anyway, this conversation is almost like a podcast version of, hey, it's okay.
Yeah.
To feel however it is that you're feeling. And in some way, I hope it's a way for us to say, hey, and we get it. We get what you're going through. And I think that can be medicine. That can be really, really powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And a gift. If you're invited to hold somebody in their pain and in their grief, it's gift.
Yeah, can you say more about that?
Well, it's to be able to hold. I mean, what Jane was able to do is to give sacred space for that person to begin to feel and to hold that for them. And that's a deep relationship. In my pain, to trust somebody to walk alongside me and to hold me and allow them to, is gifting that person with a relatedness or a relationship that's powerful and essential, I think, to being human.
Yeah, it's sacred. It's like they're trusting you enough.
Yeah. And to be able to answer that as well. So I mean, it's mutual. It's a mutuality. It's a relationship. To pawn it off and say, get over that. Yeah. It's been 2 weeks since you encountered that trauma. Get over it. Yeah. Or you shouldn't be feeling anxious. It's summer. Let's go let's go to the beach and play, or go to the pool and drink, or do whatever. I mean, that doesn't speak to the depth of a human relationship and honoring that. And
Well, I hope for people that they can just feel however they feel this summer, and honor whatever feeling it is that they have. And as Jane said, perhaps even sit with it and see where you go. Thank you for listening to this episode of the More Than One Way podcast, brought to you by the Center for Spiritual Practice in Knoxville, Tennessee. We really appreciate your time and would love to hear your feedback. You can reach us by emailing hello@morethanonewaypod.com, or you can connect with us on social media using the handle @morethanonewaypod. If you found this episode helpful, we hope that you'll share it with your friends, with your family, with people you work with all the people who you know. Thank you, and take care.